Crochadh le Vampire. Firstly, this is paper 2, 2016. A difficult piece, really. A Crochadh le Vampiri na hUaimhe. A Crochadh hanging out, hanging around, le, so that's heart. Hanging about le Vampire na hUaimhe, Vampiri na hUaimhe. Vampire na hUaimhe is the vampire of the cave, or the vampires of the cave. Vampire is a marish. Marish is a vampire. An géad lá a chas Alfie Alfie. An géad lá, from the first day or chas Alfie, you probably think that chas is to turn, but when you've chas and air come together, it also means met. So since the first day that Alfie met Alfie, who's a gná Jaeger, Jaeger is a teenager, so a gná is an ordinary teenager. Agus é féin le chéile. So since the first day that Alfie, who's an ordinary teenager, and himself, the vampire over here, met each other or came across each other, le chéile, it's kind of each other there, sa skibbo, in the barn, ag bun an gargin at the bottom of the garden an chakin saura. At the bottom of the garden in the treehouse, is our eigen. It's our eigen a vishit scarha on a killer. It's our eigen is another word for, or another phrase to say hardly. They've hardly been scarha separated. They've hardly been separated on a killer from each other. Niasmo na couple or an clig. No more than. Here's na. No more than. Niasmo is no more than a couple of hours on the clock. Okay, so just kind of, if you want to go over that little sentence again. From the first day that Alfie came upon or met, sorry, I start again. From the first day that Alfie, an ordinary teenager, came across himself, i.e. Marcus came across him, in the barn, at the bottom of the garden, in the treehouse, they've hardly been separated from each other no more than a couple of hours. Snalehin Shin, these days, the Marius on in a Coney Sanaler. Marish was living Sanaler in the attic, Idiak Alfie, in Alfie's house. In Shan Ulkadon, in a bath, an old bath. Okay, in an old bath at Veak Shenakula. In an old bath he would sleep. The Tamugarnius for the last short while, or for a short while. Ofuk, however, Tom Maris agus Kupla Taiglach Ella in a goni I Shanraluk. Marish and a couple of the family, couple of the households are living in Shanraluk is an old graveyard. A relic is a graveyard. A Will Uvan that has a cave there. It's either Subru is Darira Avin Alfi. It is between. It's between. Sugru play and seriousness. So he's half serious basically. Joking and seriousness. Alfie is, nor Avin Alfie. Nura when a Hugan she vampire nahuva arhu. Hug she vampire nahuva arhu. He gives vampire of the cave to them. Basically saying he calls them. If you give a hug she animer, he gave them a name. But he gives them the name, the vampire of the cave. The Alfie Taresh chopped air on Tishkent. Alfie was after Chock coming air on Tishkent on the information or on the understanding. Tishkent is understanding, understanding is best. They were vampiri, that they were vampires. Gur that. Fuile, nice little days. Fuile, and like special vampires. So specific vampires. They were special or specific vampires. They were then. That they were specific vampires. Vampire Nahuva, the cave vampires. Vampiri id avec Gandidon. Vampires they were avec Gandidon. That were without. Gan is without. Didon is a roof. Dini Gandidon are homeless people. Or they were Gandidon without a home, Vader. Vader, maybe. More meach an out shinaku. More meach. More Mo eme fada means if in the past tense, and mura means if not they had, if they did not have this place, basically. An ought the place, if they did not have this place. So they are vampires without a house. Vader, perhaps, if they did not have this place. Or maybe if they didn't have this place. Vampiri id a dare Tarman. They are vampires a dare. Dare is to ask. A dare Tarman. Aun. Tarman is refuge. Okay? They are vampires that ask for refuge there. Aun. They are vampires that ask for refuge there. Nura higshit, when they understand. Hig is to understand. Goraushid egsul. That they were. Goraushid egsul different. Le dini ala. To other people. Ní raibh scale umlán ag Alfie. Alfie didn't have umlán as the full. So therefore, ní raibh scale umlán ag Alfie. Alfie didn't have the full story. Os rud nach raibh sé de Mishnach. Os rud de raibh sé Mishnach. As it happens, basically. Also, as it happens, nach raibh sé. As it happens, he wasn't Nirashi de Mishnah, he wasn't confident, or he didn't have the confidence. Though Ro Kungruk to go too close, though Ro Kungruk is nearby or close, so Ro Kungruk is too close. Dun Dram, a Dram is a group of people or gang. Go too close to this can shut this gang before yet. Okay. So just go over that sentence, make sure you understand it. Avi didn't have the full story. As it happens, he didn't have enough confidence to go too close to this group yet. Maar cén sais dinner, because cén sais dinner, what type of person a bheith ag iri, that would ag iri want cóhlúdar is company a dhéanamh le vampire na huva. What kind of people would want to have company? I would want a dhéanamh to make company the vampire na huva with the vampire of the cave. Smini Alfie and Grinu. Alfie thought about the Crinu. Smini to think about something. And Crinu was the meeting, as an Aru there before. For the Crinu, Avi Aku Tamil Riv Shin, Le Stuart de Barra. Avi Aku, that they had Tamil Riv Shin a while before this. Le Stuart de Barra. Lehor agus Sturhor. Lehor agus Sturhor. So Sturhor is a director and Lehor is a producer. So producer and director on Scanlan Collar, the famous film. He thought about the meeting they had with the director and producer of a very famous scary film. Scanlan Collar was famous. He Stuart the Barra Toga taken by or taken with. Toga le married, almost like obsessed by. So he Stuart the Barra, he was taken by Marish. Agus Hukshe Kuru do, and he gave an invitation to him. Dolgaji Transylvania, I presume. I could be completely wrong, but I presume that's what it is. He brought him to invite an invitation to this place here. On port a glaku is scanan ufos. To take a part, to accept glak is to take or to accept a port is scanan ufos in a horror film. Vitrehe fui le ag marish. Vitrehe fui le. Trehe will be a trait, okay, and fui le. Kind of like suitable, you could say in this case. Let me see, is there a better word of saying that? File ag Maurice. Bhí cuma bhilach air. He had he had a sickly look on him. Agus crop V and a V shape a quid gruiga and a V shape in his hair, on his chloradon on his forehead. Ní raibh is ag mór an daoine gur vampire ar Marish. Here we are. It's like Morandini. A lot of people did not know, like Morandini, a lot of people. Gur vampire Marish. A lot of people did not know that he was a vampire. The vampire is Taglok. The vampires were in his household. Agus like Winter Marish Galera. Winter's kind of his people, and he's Winter and Tira, the people of the country, so his kind of tribe almost. So vampires, they were vampires in his family and in his people. His family and his people were vampires. Golair, they were all vampires. Dimishi the Rashkadi and Transvaal, Iha one. They went back to Transvaal, Tras Alban, Iha one. They went back to this place one night, Lilin and Sarah, for the duration of the summer. Agus dog she'd marish booked in a year, and they left poor marish booked for poor in a year after them. In an year. The áthas an downer varish gur iad gur ir stuart dul leis go dtí an transfer. The world of happiness was answered. Áthas happiness down the world. Anvarish gur ir stuart dul leis. That he asked Stuart to go with him. Or that Stuart asked for him to go with him to this place again. Agus bhí Alfie sásta a cheapníthe a dhéanamh chun cabhrú leis. And Alfie was sásta satisfied. Seach níhil, your very best. Seach níhil, your very best. A dhéanamh chun cabhrú leis. To do anything to help with him. To help him do basically, to help him do anything. Not anything isn't in there. So basically, say he was to do. Let me see that sentence again. He was and Alfie was satisfied to do his very best to help with him. Tá agla orm go méach ar an thuras col Crochadh. Tá agla I'm afraid go mai orin that we will have to. Okay, vi orm I have to, by orm I will have to, go mai orin that we will have to. An thuras a cur Kiel to cancel the tour. Thuras is tour, a cur Kiel is to cancel something. Or some marish. Os ishal quietly law on. Tugan uven etzelte erm. Tagan osat, excuse me, tagan. Tagan uve etzelte etzelte coming word. Etzelt flight and uve is like a terror. Flight terrors come on me. Ishomer Alfie of Ishid. They were in Alfie's room. Ishid lehimak lehimak. They were lehimak. They were to go to Gudi and Transvaal, Fuikena. They were to go to the Transvaal, Fuikena 3 law August, Fuikena within. They were to go to the Transvaal within 3 days. August vi nihe fosle. There was a lot of things. Vi nihe fosle play aku. There was a lot of things still. Le play to be discussed. Okay, they had a lot of things to discuss still. Full still, nihe things le play to discuss. V and aku means they had. The plan oskulte an rivra also gore amach. The plan oskulte. The plan was oskulte open an rivra on the computer os core amach out in front of them. Okay, out amach also core in front of them. Stan stared. Alfie stared at Varish. Uv etzelte. Okay, flight terror. Here they shin. What's that? A defri shede. He asked of him. He go is a voice. Crusta mioignok, and a cross, impatient voice. Uvna etzelte, flight terror. Fatjes riven etzelt, fear of flying, basically. This is what I was going to say it. Fatjes is a worry, riven etzelt, before flying. A defi Marish de. Marish answered him. Answered in a glorious kind of voice. Save is a save. What's save again? Oh yeah. Kind of like gentle voice. Flask Alfie Amaka Gorg. Alfie burst out laughing. Banu stagnu as marish. Stangu is a kind of a what is it, a shock or a fright, kind of or a fright was taken out of marish. Basically, marish got a fright. Nila McMago, I'm not joking, or some marish. Is vampire who marish? You're a vampire, said he said, adored Alfie. Being to etzel fi cholusni gyali. You are flying under the light of the moon, gach ihe. I gro iltoga in the shape of a bat, skihan lower. Skihan lower is another way of saying bat. But if you were to translate it, lahar, probably pronounce that better. If you translate it directly, you'd say leathered wings. Okay? Or weathered arm almost. Leather arm. Aviam, aviam sha agus me am wit is stihe. Okay? We're leather bats out in the out in the night. Stihe is just another way of saying kind of at night. Out at night. Said Marish. Bín sira agam. Agus tá réidir agam ó dhúchas chun mé a churl. Bín saoirse agam. I have a holiday. Agus tá réidir agam ó dhúchas, and I have a native, or ó dhúchas kind of native, but it's also, and in this case probably a natural radar. I have a natural radar to direct me on mé a churl. Okay? I'm a little bit confused even reading this part. Now, I'm not claiming to be an expert in all of this, but I'm pretty sure it's a little bit confusing, this one here. He's kind of contradicting himself there that's why I could be wrong here. I have most of the vocabulary there, but it just sounds a bit contradictory here. I'm missing something somewhere along the way, so don't get too bogged down in it. He says, being seer agam, I have a holiday, I'm free. I have a natural radar to direct me, yet then he's worried about flying. So I don't know, there's a bit of a mix up there. Let's keep going. Near lower kyachter den vert aku meander. Near lower kyachter, near lower spoke. They did not speak. There was no speech, or there was nothing spoken. Then vertical by the two of them. So the two of them didn't speak. Kyachter, kind of like either. So neither of them spoke. Neither of the two of them spoke. Aku meander. Meander is kind of like a second or a short while. For a short while. Rish Marish broke the untust, nice little word, the silence. Etlon, aeroplane, ershe. An airplane, he said. It's unon a. This is where I'm kind of confused again. It's the same as a constana, as a tin can. It's the same as a tin can. Ni eidhan e chasif. You cannot stand up. Okay. The Alfie Ekfara Varish go Howersuk. Alfie was looking at Marish Howersuk. Ekfara is looking. Howersuk is doubtfully. The Ire Varish Nis Mihli no Riv. The look of Marish Vein was Nis Mihli, was sicklier. Yeah, kind of paler. No Riv than ever. I was gone a howlu fein sachin etzlon. Gone a howlu. And without him, Bush imagining himself. Without him, a howlu fein, imagining a howlu fein himself. Sacha. Sacha is kind of like immersed, okay, in etzlon. He Alfie go round Marish Landarira. Alfie understood go round Marish was Landarira, fully serious. Okay, Ligshe Osna, he released as Ligshe Osna is a sigh as. He let a sigh out of him. The etelt agus lostin curra in arha aku fein, aku kana fein. The etelt agus lostin curra in arha aku kana fein. Curra in arha. So the etelt agus losti. So he etzelt agus loistin cora acu canafin. Canafin is kind of already particular in Arha acu. He had a flight and a home cora kind of put before a particular flight and home put before him anyways acu canafin already. Um, he Conru Shinha Aku. He had that one there is kind of sorry, just go back to this one, it is a bit confusing. The Etzelt Agus Lostein Korha in Arha Aku Canafin. He had a Lostein as a house and a house to stay and a flight. Korha in Arha is booked for him. Aku. They had it booked for them, Canafin already. So a flight and a host was booked for him already. The Conrus Shinhaku, he this contract signed. The Stuart de Barra agus looked dienta an scanan ag bra ohu. So the Stuart de Barra and the agus looked dienta an scanan, and looked dienta is kind of an scanan ag bra ohu. Brass ohu is kind of depending on them. Agus looked dienta to kind of makeup crew. Looked dienta waiting on them or depending on them. Bra depending on them. Bheith féin agus bharis an aibh seo a réiteach. Let me see what that means. Bheith féin. He himself and Marish had to solve, a réiteach is to solve the problem. So himself and Marish had to solve the problem. And sin, then, chur Alfie ceist eile bharis go fun ódach. Then Alfie put another question on Varish go fodonach is kind of almost abusively, or kind of he's getting cross now before. They say something aggressively, is fodonach. Then he put another abusive question or a kind of a hostile question on Varish. And will ein vab ella agat le bulu aram inu. Do you have any other, a bob, is it like a trick, bob no be a trick or treat? So on well ein bob ella. Do you have any other trick le bulu aram inu? Do you have any other trick to hit me today, basically? Ní raibh sé ag siúil leis an bragra. He wasn't looking forward to the answer he got. Deacrocht bheag amháin. One small difficulty, not one other small difficulty, other difficulty. My fós, my passport. Tá sé as dáta, it's out of date. Arsa Marish. Bín buile na tabáiste. He's at his wits. Oh, what's that again? Buile na tabáiste. Oh yeah, that was the last straw. Lovely little phrase. That was the last straw. Bhí greengraf suas chun dáta de bharis all. They would have to get another Hondata Lamars of you have to get up a picture Hondata up to date. Have to get an up to date picture. Sus Hondata up to date. Of Marish all to get an up to date picture of Marish. So all is to get. Greengraf the vampire, a photograph of a vampire. The usa a raw na yenif. Nice little phrase again there. Is easier said than done. Easier said than done. Fursa from easier. Hit Alfie in a stacking. Here in sack peroni. Sack ponori. Alfie fell into a stack, to a small stack. Sack ponery on a sack of beans. I hope that's right. It doesn't sound right. A sack of beans. Ligshe scrad ishal as. He let it low. Ishal is low, and a scrad is a scream. A low scream out of it. Okay. Let's have a look at the questions. Keshta Now remember, when you're doing these for your exam, you only do one from A, one from B, and one from either R. But you must do one from A and B, at least. Tor golf winte ólas I Dave na vampire tá in a gcónaí ar an seanraigh. Thord Goffint Ullus give two pieces of information I Dave na Vampiri about the vampires atá na goni generally that are living in the old graveyard. Scríb sios gach cúis rá áhas an down varish dul gotí Transvaal. Give two reasons why the World of Happiness is on varish dul gotí Transvaal to go to the Transvaal. I don't even know what way I'm saying this. Trasalvan. Obviously Transylvania. Lui God Yakrocht a bhí ag Marish Maidir lena choras gotí. This place again. Two difficulties that Marish had lena Thuras with his trip to this place, Transylvania. Two difficulties he had with his trip going to Transylvania. Tor Kuntas Garrett give a short account. Two traits of Vanan Le Marish. Two traits associated with Marish. So give an account of two traits that he had. Tor Kuntas Garrett and Gachre Vanan Le Halfi. Two very same question, except two traits about Alfie. What type of person was he? Erhan Scale did you like the story? Two reasons why you liked the story. Okay. Okay, best of luck with that. See how you get on with it.